Every one of you watching this screen, look out.
Anything can happen in the next half hour.
What did I tell you about cartoons?
They've got a lot of brains, and they've got a lot of chutzpah.
Tell me how comic books make you feel, Dave.
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious, and don't call me Shirley.
Hello, this is Franz Kantor, cartoonist, illustrator, and ToonTalker, and I'm here with
Jim Bridges in downtown Docklands, and I'm the president of the Australian Cartoon Museum.
Huzzah!
And here we are in the museum itself.
Right, downtown Dusseldorf. Where we're going to go today, we're going to look at Moebius. See Moebius? You can read Moebius, who is Ginger Giraud, of course.
What does that
so
say?
Reisen der Erinnerung means dream journey, so a journey of dreams. That's
We're going on a
basically
dream
what
journey,
it is.
are we?
Yeah, well, it's kind of like a dreamscape or something.
Is that light coming out of a head or a hair? Could be both.
Okay, so Moebius, of course...
Isn't that an extraordinary image?
It is. He is an extraordinary artist. He has this incredible impact on film and comics. An amazing man. Graphics, everything. He was very prolific. Of course, he's no longer with us, unfortunately. But it was a great comic artist. And we're going to explore him in this Journey of Dreams, or Dream Journey. So we've done 2 Moebius books in the series. This is the 3rd one, which I found, which I
think there's 7 in the series.
Love this so much.
7 in the series.
There's a bunch of books. We've still got to look at some. I would like to do Arzak and Airtight Garage and all of those stories, which are fantastic.
Airtight Garage.
Airtight Garage.
Oh, Airtight, okay.
Yeah, Jerry Cornelius.
They're dangerous, aren't they, Airtight Garages?
Yes, they are.
Very dangerous.
Anyway,
a lot of people lose their lives in those things, you know.
This is a Taschen book, by the way. You can get this in English. This happens to be the German version. So Moebius, loved reading Moebius's comics in heavy metal or Metal Hurlant, which is the European version, the French version. He did a lot of comics. Oh my God! And he was so incredibly prolific and talented. In both black and white. This is
funny because this is German and that's French.
Yes, it's not so. They're neighbours, so there's not.
They're neighbours. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's like it's like
Australia and Tasmania.
I was going to say the Ziffles.
The Ziffles. Well, go ahead and say it.
I was going to say, it could be like Greenacres, the Ziffles down the road.
Oh, Greenacres. Oh, God. You got Zaza Gabor on the brain.
Exactly, with the talking Schwein.
Yeah.
Turn
the page.
Adventurer. Yes. Here we go. So he's brilliantly... brilliant artist. Look at the line work in this.
Yes.
This is like looking at his work and Robert Crumb, of course. It's brilliantly creating halftone.
Their cross-hatching is just...
genius effect.
Yeah, their cross-hatching is just terrific.
Yeah, so the amount of... The feeling of texture and light and shade, of course, is magnificent.
Crumb's done a very similar picture, hasn't he? At the drawing board.
The artist sitting at us.
He was right-handed, was he?
So, there's Lieutenant Blueberry.
Yeah.
Look at that. That's a brilliant, iconic... that is a magnificent Civil War... obviously, the blues, the winning side.
If you like Sergio Leone...
magnificent.
And all the close-ups of the blokes with all the beards and the stubble and stuff, it's all pinched from this bloke.
There's a strong sense of the absurd and surrealism. based on a lot of interests. Very interested in film, very interested in Surrealism itself. This is a metal Herland cover. This was actually reproduced in silver behind this.
Hi-ho silver. Okay.
This is a Humanoids Associate, obviously, is the publisher.
Farkas. I drew it. Oh, he's good.
Jodorowsky, of course, you were familiar with Jodorowsky's work.
Yes. The cat.
Moebius and Jodorowsky had a great business relationship. Yes, Duchat, the cat.
El Topo.
Beautiful Art Deco, buildings showing this incredible amount of detail of rubble and ruin. This is the Arzak character.
Art Deco rubble. My God, you heard it first here.
Well, Art Deco is usually very clean and pristine. This was beautifully bombed out and very interesting comic itself. No words. A lot of French comics don't have any words. They rely totally on the images themselves. He's a master of detail and a master of perspective. So if you want somebody to show you the big against the tiny, you hire Moebius or Droulet.
Yes.
Droulet, of course, is another artist.
Droulet was so good he influenced Kirby. And that's generally the other way around.
Yeah. So these are beautiful pieces. This actually looks like a Kaza. We should talk about Kaza.
I wonder what Frank Frechetta thought.
This is art. He liked it. He loved it. So Arzak, of course, this character, which was kind of stolen, I think, in Heavy Metal, the movie.
Oh, it's on the cover, on the poster.
Yeah, well,
but it's got a girl on it instead.
Yeah, I know. They kind of took what they wanted for the movie.
Dirty fuckers.
Again, the surrealism. The beauty about Moebius's take on science fiction and fantasy is that he'll bring in the absurdity of everyday life.
Why use an apple when you can use a rock?
Yeah, exactly. But look at the absurdity of everyday life. So he would give the pomp and circumstance of the accoutrement,
You're really pulling the adjectives out of the box today.
Yeah, the dress code, the dress and the rank.
Ambience.
Yeah, he loved to draw. All French artists love to draw pomp and circumstance.
Do they?
And beautiful. Well,
pomp and circumstance. Karl Barks is French.
Well, his take on pomp and circumstances.
Pomp and circumstances is a British piece of music.
Yeah, I'm talking about, the clerics and the clerks. And the politicians and the public servants.
Yes.
All of this sort of thing, whereas, in Karl Barks, they're all represented by oafish dogs.
Yeah, whenever the judges actually, hang people, they put a black piece of thing over their head. Yeah. All that stuff.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's just all these sort of ceremonial details that give this also. This is a beautiful. This is from Airtight Garage.
Yeah, look,
Jerry Cornelius.
You buy bagels there. Look, there's a bagel.
Yeah, so it's this sort of 8-dragon. Look at the perspective and this thing. Which
he's good with rocks.
It's incredible.
He's good with rocks.
But they're lovely rocks. They're
organic rocks.
Yeah, they're like lava flow rocks.
It's alive.
Yeah.
Rocks.
So this is reminiscent of some.
Except
of
what's this
famous
business?
painting,
This sort of square stuff.
Well, that's a word balloon.
I know, but what are they square for?
Because they are. You can do anything in a comic. You can have comics in word balloons in any form or shape. So again, perspective, details, the attention to details, the creation, the world building, the creation of story elements.
You can never have enough rocks in a picture.
Worlds of floating people.
You never have enough rocks in a picture.
Yeah.
But this is interesting, look.
Yeah, but see how beautiful, they got bread, they got things here, garlic nodes or something, a couple of books, they've got a well-behaved dog and, a mother, and it looks like him, self-portrait.
And you've got a classic Renaissance
What
triangle.
Is that?
That's a
organ.
Yeah.
It's like a one of those Indian organs.
I think it's like a hurdy-gurdy.
Yeah,
an early hurdy-gurdy.
maybe something like that. So it's all there to give these little subtle details, give you sort of cultural significance of stories that you're not familiar with, but you're just sort of looking at these
And
details.
let's whack a Madonna in here for religion,
Yeah, so they're kind of giving you context far beyond the main narrative. So you actually see that's so rich with detail. It's
love
like
this
looking
picture.
at a
I love this
Bruegel.
picture.
You ever looked at a Bruegel painting and you
for hours.
Exactly.
For
you look at it for
hours.
hours. You
Hours.
wouldn't look at a painting normally for hours.
No.
Not even a
No.
Renaissance painting. But with a Bruegel painting, there's always these little kind of weird characters in the background. And what's that? Is that a imp? Is that something? What is that character doing?
This is an
It's
interesting
very
drawing because
interesting.
it's like religious.
Yeah.
And here is like the religious cup.
Yeah.
But there's a knife here. And then is he grabbing the pen or throwing it away?
We don't know.
That's
very-
interesting.
it's
almost
dramatic
like it's almost
in the
like the
simplicity.
artist as priest.
Yeah, it's dramatic in its simplicity.
And this is
lovely detail. This attention to
This is
detail, of
his-
course, comes to fore when you see his beautiful.
Alien. This is Alien.
Yeah.
remember? This is what
yeah,
just for
his
Alien.
his character designs and costume designs for films,
Yeah.
magnificent. 30th Century Fox. I think this is him. I don't know what the significance of the three crowns are, but maybe he's Catholic. I don't know. But there's three UFOs as well.
No, Three Crowns is that's tarot.
Is it? Oh,
It's
okay.
tarot.
Okay, I can't remember. It's been a long time since I used
I think he
Look
went
at
to.
these little guys over here.
Yeah,
You
I
would
think
never have thought of
I think he
putting
went
Look at that
to.
little fellow there.
I think he went to America, and he expected something else, and that's
And it was
all-
crumbling.
Yes, that's right.
This I've never seen him use this before, but he's done it quite effectively.
Well, that's
because of the
Corbin.
Zip tone.
Looks like it's Corbin, doesn't it? Something.
We have to talk about
Corbin-esque.
Corbin now. We have to talk about
Corbinesque.
Corbin. Corbin-esque, because Corbin does this
Are we the first
brilliant
people to use that?
chiaroscuro,
Corbinesque?
use of
We're
dark
the first
and
ones
light.
that used that.
Yeah,
Corbinesque.
yeah. It comes from Rubenesque.
You're kidding.
Yeah.
Boy, he could do breasts, that bloke. And look at the shadow on that. They're just lines.
Yeah.
Love that.
That's a beautiful overhead
Yeah.
shot. That noise you can hear in the background, you can probably pick up, is somebody punching a punching bag.
Upstairs.
Upstairs,
Now, this is very unlike him, isn't it?
That's not us. We're not bouncing up and down on our chairs.
Behave
This
yourself.
is what the bouncing up and down on our chairs sounds like.
This looks very un-Moebius.
Well, it's
It
it's
just
again,
shows you
it's-
how much
yeah the
scope he's got.
yeah
He can even do that stuff. Apocalypse.
yeah
Do you know what that means?
probably that.
No, doesn't matter.
Raumschiff.
Yeah. Well, this
I can't
alien-esque. Alien-esque. Actually, this is really interesting
I
because
can't speak German.
you know all the stuff in space that floats around. What do they call it?
Asteroids.
Yeah, but
Flotsam, jetsam.
Yeah, well, I mean, look how he's done it. The soft, the river.
He was the first.
No, but they're river. They're river-worn.
River stones, yeah,
No,
the
but they're
river-worn,
river-worn.
smoothed.
And the ones in space are always rough. You know
Always
what I mean?
rough, yeah.
Yeah.
But they're not very. This is much more decorative. I would love to see these river-worn.
Yeah, in
and
space.
this is actually a circle, so it's circling, presumably this. I would hazard a guess. So this is
It's
a ring.
a circle within a circle within a circle.
Yeah, so this is a ring, but this one here is an artificially
Yes.
mined rock.
Sigurd.
Il Bluff.
Il Bluff. I don't
Siguri.
Like, I don't like your French
Look at the
accent.
spaceships. Again, look at that spaceship. Looks like a boll weevil. How many? And look at the butt. The butthole is still. He left the butthole on the boll weevil.
No, that's a screw.
A Phillips
That's
head
a Phillips
screw.
head screw. That's right.
Yeah, or it could be
It's a cosmic Phillips head screw.
it's probably the exhaust of some kind for this thing. But you see, the spaceship looks like a boll weevil.
I don't.
Beautiful.
I mean, it might be the
How
front of
interesting.
the. It might be the front of the ship. You might be, having an ass around, mate.
Yeah, how interesting that is. Perspective, again, the magnificent use of perspective and the employment of all of these little structural details. Imagine drawing this stuff and keeping it in your head and having it some kind. There's a guy sitting there. There's a monitor for him. There's this guy sitting in this one. There's monitors above there. There's a whole bunch of wires, kind of like our desk here in many ways.
This is interesting. Like, they come from two different worlds. She's from a round world, and he's from a square world. I like that. It's so simple.
Yeah, but that is good. But you see, have a look at this. There is an element of space. In space, anything can happen because there's no gravity, right? There's
Correct.
No localized gravity. So what they've got here is, look at this. And suddenly you start to... Escher.
Now, this is interesting too, because generally you expect them to go dark and then lighter, or vice versa, but he's done it from the side.
Just because...
Now,
magnificent
we know that these
colours.
are speech
It has a beautiful
What the
colour
hell
sense.
is that?
No idea. I call this colouring, this is from...
I call it French colouring.
yes, well, I
That's
call
what
it...
I call it.
Yeah, because it's using gouache, actually, which is a very vibrant...
That sounds like a French word.
opaque watercolour.
That sounds like a French word for opaque watercolour, gouache.
Yeah. So I think this is from the Incal series, from memory. Roboter. It's a Mickey Mousey robotic.
Yes.
And you see there's a little bit of chrome. You can see the reflections there.
Bit of chrome, yeah.
So there's a little bit of thinking about Mouse and Kelly and a few of the artists that used to do beautiful airbrush chrome effects in the 70s. This is a lovely little piece with
Did he invent those
C-3PO?
characters? We don't know, do we?
No.
We don't know if he invented these characters.
No. This is not. This is him referencing it for a different
Yeah,
content.
obviously. Yeah. And I love the shadows, just lines.
Yeah, but occasionally he'll go from a more realistic effect to a very, very cartoony thing, which is the same thing as Crumb. Crumb would go from a very realistic drawing to a very, very
softer,
very, very cartoony.
rounder. Yeah.
You see this even with this, the big, huge, great big feet, which is referencing obviously
Goofy.
another cartoon.
Oh,
So he loves the sense of play. Again, always coming back to this. This is magnificent. I think this is from The Long Goodbye.
The Long Goodbye?
Yeah, isn't it?
You get your films mixed up, mate.
Am I?
There's no robots in The Long Goodbye.
This is from something. I think the story is called The Long Goodbye.
Well, the film
it's a
is
murder mystery.
The film is. I love all this mess.
That's a science fiction
I like all
murder
the mess.
mystery.
I like all the mess.
Well, these are police that are they come upon a murder, gruesome murder.
This is
So
almost,
again,
this
beautiful
is,
scale.
Dramatic, like it's like Nazi sort of.
Yeah, well, Albert Speer.
Yeah, that's the one.
He tried to create architecture which looked like it was used by the Titans, by the gods, rather than man. And we just happened to stumble or use it ourselves.
You mean gods like Harry, or some.
Yeah.
It's a German word. Flora.
Beautiful, use of shading. It's very simple. Beautiful stuff. There's a lot of floating in his drawings. He loves.
But he did it like they're real. Like it's realistic sort of stuff. It's like they're actually they're not just stuck up there and hanging. They're actually going somewhere. And
there's a purpose for it. Yeah. So this is sort of like this huge insect, a world of insects. That you can ride. And
but you have to be blonde. You have to be blonde to ride those things.
Well, it's more or less. It's like a Barbarella. It's nice. Look how beautiful, decorative the cratering is on that moon. It's lovely. Very, very dramatic. So his sense of surreal, he brought a strong sense of surrealism to the science fiction genre. It's lovely. I had a few posters when I was younger, and they were really, really incredible to look at the detail of the pen work.
Are you saying your wife won't let you put posters on the wall now you're older?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
your mum let you put posters on the wall. My mum said, take that stuff down.
Well, I put mine on the ceiling. So look at the beautiful overlapping of these details and that.
It's beautifully worked out, isn't it?
Incredibly ornate, and even if you look at the background, the forest of trees that go up, and you're in this sort of wooded glade or something. and this sort of device appears.
I can imagine Miyazaki looking at that
stuff.
when it came out and thinking, I'm going to use that one day, and he did.
Yeah. Very, very strong sense. I don't know why they paint this in yellow.
See, that's great.
Yeah, so
That's a great idea.
yeah, a beautiful sense of narrative. This guy stopped underneath and he's touching the rock to see if it's really there.
Yeah.
And of course, the rock is really there because it's floated up there and it's taken.
It's got a shadow.
factory
It's got
or
a
something.
shadow. It's got a shadow.
I don't know what that device is. That building.
Do you reckon he had a few rocks on his drawing tables and looked at them every so often? And
Yeah, but these are lovely examples of cross-hatching with a certain patterning to it, so that you've got this sort of rhythmic, curved cross-hatch effect.
that explains a
See
lot
how
of
these
his
directional lines
Yeah.
create the sense of smooth and roundness. Beautiful, and he's carried it through to the face as well. It's lovely, and this worm device. There's a lot of this. There's a lot of floating. There's also a lot of contemplation. People thinking, looking at life as it's presented, or look at this phenomena as it's presented, and thinking about the implications, about how they fit into this new world that's so strange.
They're all past thoughts, and that's his present thought.
Yeah,
He's thought about these.
yeah.
They're in
So
thought.
only you would think that.
You would think.
That is a very Jim thing to say. This is from Le Chat, of course, from the cat. It's a beautiful story. We must feature this story. It's a beautiful, beautiful story. This comic, The Chat, the cat. You will love cats when you see this. It's that strong.
Didn't like the musical.
Not that.
The film was awful.
No, I'm talking about good stuff.
Oh, good
look
stuff,
at the
okay.
details here, look at the little support struts, of course, which means that this is an early
Version.
Propeller plane,
Yeah.
and
Without a
so most
propeller?
of this is sort of, I think,
Without a propeller, because it's
varnished canvas.
Varnished canvas. Okay. Yeah.
Well, it would be light, has to be light.
But it's jet propelled because there's no.
That's unusual, yeah. Yeah, there's no propeller, so it's jet. So it's combining two things, a juxtaposition of different eras and things. You could see here, this is a very modern, sleek-looking, electric-looking train, and it has a smokestack.
Of course. Let's mix our metaphors.
Absolutely. Look how beautiful this is. I believe this is one of the most magnificent science fiction posters I've ever seen. It's
Well,
just,
it's pinched
there's so
through.
much detail here. If you look in the...
Yeah.
If you had a poster of this, you'd really be able to appreciate it, because there's lots of little details here in the distance that you can pick up. They have it gives the painting much more significance and meaning. It has a sort of a wider context, more than what you see here.
It's called a figure in a landscape.
Yes, greater story. There's a bigger story out there. This is a small snapshot version of it. This is a lovely,
That's one
beautiful,
small step
beautiful
for
shading.
mankind.
Look at the detail. That's a magnificent. It's a shame they've just cropped this. It'd be big. Should be bigger. You'd be able to see the pen work
Oh,
involved
okay.
in
There's
this.
more.
It's
Okay.
magnificent.
This,
Well, no,
this looks like
this is too small.
it's like a Dali-esque crucifixion or something. That's nice.
This was reproduced, I think, in Metal Hurlant or Heavy Metal. I can't remember where I first saw it, but it was reproduced as a full page, so it's not sort of reduced down like this. It was up here somewhere.
I've seen
And it
Metal
was really
Hurlant
magnificent.
in
As a
England.
poster.
I've
He
seen-
put out a bunch of these as posters, which were brilliant to look at. Yeah, Metal Hurlant is heavy metal.
Yeah, I know, but I remember seeing Metal Hurlant in English.
Ah,
So they
okay, I
must
didn't
have-
realise they put out an English version. But that's fine. They could have done
This
that.
is nice because you can see how
Tone
he's done it.
paper.
You can see how he's done it. It's very, very basic.
Yeah, it's quick, organic, small.
Yeah.
It's lovely. These are from his
So he would paint
notebooks.
that background first, that colour.
No. Yeah, I'm not actually sure. It's try to imagine this as sort of a textured paper,
Yeah,
and he
yeah.
painted and drew and painted
On
over the top. Lovely little vignette illustration. What a shame! I hate it when they disappear into the gutter. But also Arzak, or the Arzak characters, sometimes he would develop them into sort of almost androgynous characters. So they'd be sort of simplified, so you're not sure whether it's a female or a male character, which just adds to its its otherworldly, off-worldly
mysteriness.
Yeah. When he gets a chance, he'll do these sort of very, very, oh, look at that, very contemplative females. So the females in his
this is really
paintings.
strong. This is really strong.
Yeah, his illustrations are really, really, they look very deep and contemplative.
See here,
Like
he's got
his
that
version of a
he's
love
got the
poem.
hair coming down, but he's painted over it. See, he's painted over the hair here.
Yeah.
Because the hair's coming out.
Mm.
I mean, that's sublime. And look, your
3D.
favourite two letters.
Mm. Someone smacking around the punching bag.
They all look like they're
This
from the
is
same
lovely.
family. Look at their faces.
Yeah, so look at the perspective involved.
Is this-
Yes, exactly. They look. See, there's a history involved.
Is that French
and
under?
even this is a classic.
Yeah, UFO. Yeah.
That's a Adamski flying saucer.
Adamski.
George Adamski designed a
Is
flying
this?
saucer.
It looks like it's French underground.
Yeah,
French
Arzak.
French
See
resistance.
what I mean by Arzak? The sort of the Arzak character is androgynous, and even the beret wearing character is more sort of androgynous. So it's like
And this sort
it's
of
a strange
symbol here. This sort of symbol here.
Yeah, there's a lot of this sort of meaning outside of I think that comes from that. But there's a lot of meaning that comes from symbols and shapes, and I mean the figures, like this beautiful shot here, showing the crystal walls, the palace, and the space, the sky beyond it. Of course, it's just a perfect example. But look at this: is the mother. It looks like a mother and two children, or it could be an older sister or brother and two children, two smaller siblings. So it's already telling you a little bit of a story. This is kind of like a Nemo in Slumberland character, riding off on a star.
What interests me about this bloke is he seems totally original. I can't see where he's getting his influences from.
Well, influences from everywhere. This is from Lewis Carroll. This is
No,
obviously-
I'm talking about his. It's more than that. It's more than that.
You mean the ideas or the style?
The ideas and stuff like.
The ideas come purely from his
Imagination.
awakening. Is sort of he blends. He's the only person I think that really tackles surrealism in a science fiction context.
Yeah, but like in this drawing here, right? He doesn't have to draw wood grain for a chair, but why not? And it's almost like, I don't know, it's like he's bored. It's like part of his brain, every time he does a drawing, he has to do something he's never done before. You know what I mean?
But the chair's floating. The chair's floating. It's not on the floor. So even these shadows, there's a sort of a mixed messaging of context here. It looks like parents looking in on the child in the room, but the child's floating. So it's giving you this sort of shoot effect of like Alice in Wonderland falling through the tunnel, the tree. So it's very mixed. A lot of
rabbit
mixed,
hole.
The rabbit hole. Yeah.
And that's got to be the worst lightning I've ever seen. But it's not lightning, is it? It's
It's a lightning.
It's something else. Something else.
But look at the details in this. This is incredible. It's all of this useful.
It's pretty
thing.
detailed.
That looks
It's
like
pretty
a transistor
detailed.
radio. This I think we may have done this book. This is a collection, a cover of a collection of
No,
stories.
I haven't done this.
Okay, well we'll do this one next. This will be good. He loves faces again, light and shade. He'll explore texture is always king in his world for black and white.
That's like an American Indian, isn't it?
It is an American Indian. So this is, this sort of the use of the clean line, Linclair, which is actually Linclair, which is a clean line used in French comics, obviously.
Linclair, okay.
Yeah, and this is a beautiful technique. So both Linclair and this sort of form created by this cross-hatching texture. A lot of beautiful use of watercolor and gouache under the inked line. This is Lieutenant Blueberry. These are beautiful studies.
Well, that's simple for him,
lovely
isn't it?
studies.
Because in the comics, there's a lot more detail on the faces and stuff.
Yeah, these are like Indians from photographs and films and things like that.
Wow.
That's a magnificent one. Oh, I wish you could see this one blown up. Well, I wish this was bigger, because he had this incredible decorative effect. Going into the shadows, he'd have
It's
this
almost.
beautiful
It's
decorative
like,
effect.
It's
of
almost.
cross-hatching.
It's almost spiderwebbish.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
But again, the attention to detail and form and light, the underlighting, all of this thing, nothing escapes his eye. And of course, he can express things very sort of simply as well and beautifully. It's this sort of Gene Autry-ish.
Why are we getting the
or a Tom Mix character?
Yeah. Why are we getting the Moira effect?
Moira.
Moira. That's lovely. Lovely.
Yeah.
Lovely. Look at it. It's just so heavy and yet floaty.
Yeah. Yeah. Look at that.
Yeah. Look at that.
Beautiful.
That could be Trump.
Loves the human,
that could be Trump with a haircut.
Loves the human form in all its
his line
variety.
works.
Beautiful
His
writing,
line works
skinny
wonderful,
characters and baggy characters and Ken Doan. I always remember this guy from.
It does. It looks a bit like. But
I know.
Ken Doan doesn't have a moustache, does he?
Back in the 80s, obviously Ken Doan.
Yeah.
Ken Doan does have a moustache.
Does he?
Yeah. So he did these shirts, and when I saw this in heavy metal, at first I think, oh, Ken Doan. That's what I thought.
I think it was.
Look at beautiful costume designs, and it's fantastic.
What's down is down, and dinny can be undone.
Yeah. So it's lovely. More costume designs. These are lovely
great.
contexts.
Can you imagine being a film director?
Brilliant.
And you're asking him to do stuff, and he drops this on your lap. You'd get so excited, wouldn't you?
You would.
You'd just start seeing the film all over again,
You would. But you know what? I think he would make a brilliant designer for an opera.
Look at this.
I'd love to see the Incal as an opera. That would be brilliant to see it on a big stage.
She's cosmic.
Yeah. It's like Galactus, isn't it?
Yeah.
Galactus!
Galactus had a
universe
girlfriend?
Galactus
had a girlfriend?
In his form. Look at this, astral travelling. This is the fellow returning to his body after a night's escapism.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
That's it's a lovely, simple, sketch-like quality, tight in areas, then loose, but perfect perspective, perfect details, amount of details. There's a side table, probably a candle or a lava lamp, or no, there's a lamp. That's something else.
It's probably a sex toy or something.
No, that would be a atomizer.
Yes, because
air purifiers.
Yeah, he's got one.
Yeah, there's a sort of a little desk thing happening, his slippers, all of these things. These are little details you put in there, and they give something. There's a vibrator there. You give something more, a real context.
I like his jammers.
Yeah.
Because they wouldn't be like that in real
Lovely.
life, but because he's going down, it's got this lovely...
Yeah, it's unusual,
V
isn't
shape.
It's a very unusual, beautiful composition. I mean, this is his use of variety. It's lovely.
He didn't use this much stuff, did he?
Sense of drama and story in his works. You're going to get a very big, strong moire pattern over this because there's a lot of dots here. And these characters are almost doing this sort of ring around the rosy type of thing of a stone object that's floating in the shape of a heart.
Yeah.
So it all has a sort of a mysterious context.
Rock hard.
We don't know the story. But you know what? In the end of days,
it's
you
telling
don't care.
you a story.
It is.
Even though you don't know the story, it's
you
telling
don't know
you a story.
Yeah, see the guy with the panpipes.
I thought
they're bagpipes, actually. They're bagpipes.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, so there's a sort of like and this guy's got a scarf.
A
looks
scarf.
like a South American
and there's
Indian
Alice
hat.
in Wonderland when she grew up.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of that.
Yeah.
So we don't know the story, but it alludes to a story. When Moebius puts all of these elements in here, it tells you a beautiful tale that you don't know the exact wording of, but you just feel enveloped in it.
The atmosphere is bang.
The visual, very strong in visual meaning, but we don't know the meaning. But that doesn't destroy the effect. So even this, would never have thought about this. It's fantastic. This multi-dimensional.
So you don't have to know the meaning.
You don't need to know the meaning.
No.
You don't need to know.
I mean, what do the Catholics
What's
call
the
it?
meaning of this?
They call it the blessed. They call it the blessed mystery.
So again, space and anti-gravity and things like that, and sex also.
Is that sex?
So it looks
now
like a very simple.
This is Watchmen, obviously.
He's sort of checked in or something. I don't know what that looks like. Maybe a front door, or a lift, or front door.
It's a phone, to communicate.
So you're kind of getting a little bit of a
that's,
story.
That's hanging out with my girlfriend.
Look at the moire.
That's called hanging out with my girlfriend.
Yeah.
Why do you get a moire there?
Because there's a dot over it.
No, where's the dots here? That's white
There's
paper.
a dot. If you lean back underneath the camera again, we'll see your ball patch at the top. There's a dot pattern. There's a grey tone. Can you not see that? That's not.
I can see it on.
You can't see it. That's
sorry.
not white paper.
I put my glass. I can see it now. Sorry.
Yeah, that's why there's a moire.
That's a moire.
Exactly. This is lovely. I'm not a big fan of this yellow, but it doesn't matter. We'll live with it. But it's again the occasion of the simple against the detail.
That's the cosmic.
Magnificent.
Is that the cosmic cube that everybody fights over in the Marvel universe?
Yeah.
The source.
It's a magnificent use of detail. Where you put the detail? Where is he putting the detail? On the ground, not on the characters in the background.
Do you think that's Robert Johnson
Beautiful.
at the crossroads?
We don't know. These are some of his storyboards, which are brilliant, beautiful, and elegant, very elegant and descriptive. Again, beautiful sense of drama and expressions in these. And some of his more down to earth. I think this could even be advertising. In some form. It's lovely. I wish we could see this without the shine.
Porous rock.
Yeah, it's magnificent. Yeah, he loves. He's probably got a big collection. Probably had a big collection of crystals and pebbles and things in which to draw inspiration.
Do you think he walked along? Let's draw inspiration. Do you think he walked along the beach and thought about life a lot?
I think we all do. We're all guilty of that. This is a lovely. The big and the small, the fairyland,
I like
the way that he shows fairyland
with this
interdimensional rather than classic fairies, And why not? You're summoning up a UFO from another world or something. Why not? They're different scale, different size to us.
Yes, they are.
We could be giants, or they could be giants, which goes back to Gulliver. Jonathan Swift.
I think before you pull a Swift on me like that, I think
Again,
they had
the
giants.
What's this with
they
the yellow?
had giants
Okay.
in Sinbad, and he's a long time before Gulliver. Do you know,
Beautiful
do
sense
you know
of
Gulliver?
Contrasting colours.
Do you know Gulliver in the Gulliver book? He talks about
complementary colours.
No, he actually talks about a place that he lands on, and it was actually just below Australia.
This is not a segue into anything, folks.
No,
this is an interruption. If, in case you're wondering, where were you going with Gulliver?
Is this Buddhist?
This is Lilliput.
Is this Buddhist sci-fi? Is it?
In many ways,
this is Buddhist sci-fi.
Yeah, lotuses are very sort of contemplative flowers and beautiful.
And I love he's invented
even
a
this
new
sort of Venetian gondola.
He's invented a new type of mountain here.
Yeah, so it's but it's a painted mountain. It looks like a
Navajo.
Indian
Look like the Navajo
mountain.
thing. Yeah.
Look at the different kinds of.
Hang on, that's upside down.
Yeah, well, that's.
I've never seen a UFO upside down. Have you?
What's UFOs used as devices of some kind that they're floating symbolic things, more or less frisbees. But this is lovely. Look at the zip tone used in that. To moire.
Look at this
again,
guy.
There's
Look
a
at this
moire
guy.
pattern, a little bit of a fuzzy. Again, floating elements.
He has fun with Mickey Mouse every so often. He does Mickey Mouse sort of.
Well, the French have a love of Disney, as evidenced by Karl Barks. So, Karl Barks, again, is French. They loved him in France. So
much more than they did.
Adopted him.
They did. Yes, that's true.
Big against small again. The small against the big, and all
but
of
the
these
colours,
devices. The way
they're very
colours.
uncomic-like.
Well, the colours come from the use of colours here. We can do a whole series on colours. This colour palette comes from the Impressionists.
Yes, but can you imagine if American comics had colours like this? What sort of art would Roy Lichtenstein been doing?
Yeah.
I ask you that question.
Yeah, well, American comics could not reproduce this sort of colour.
Couldn't, no.
So that's why it was very important to see his work in
You missed a page.
1980. Well, that's all
Where's
German.
the Mora pattern?
No, there's no more on there. There's not even more on that. That's a lovely toned paper drawing. You can see with blue pencil, and then with the
Bit naughty, isn't it? A bit naughty,
pen
that picture.
over the top.
And look, where the fingers meet, that's where the action's happening. Look,
Yeah, exactly. Like the bells, like the Tinker Bells from Indian dance.
Stinker bells.
Yeah. Well, the bells, the little ting,
the finger
ting,
bells.
ting, ting. Yeah.
Thumb bells, yeah.
Look at that
And
beautiful.
it's
That's a lovely. I love that. It's just so perfect. And look at that again.
I think I reckon.
Beautiful.
I reckon. Hang on, this is where we get serious now. I reckon he's probably one of the greatest Imagineers in graphic art.
Yeah, and a musketeer.
And his
Mouseketeer.
colour's bloody good too.
Yeah. This is Franz Kantor and
that's not Franz Kantor. And Jim Bridges at Downtown Docklands.
Yep.
Saying, check us out on YouTube.
Yeah. Which on YouTube, all you have to do if you ever get lost is you just go there.
Yeah,
so
ToonTalk.
ToonTalk.Show, that's me, that's Jim. And
hang on, we'll leave it there for a while. Get your phone and scan that.
I wouldn't do that.
You wouldn't do that?
Not
Okay,
anymore.
all right. Not
Okay,
anymore.
we'll do that another time.
Okay.
Check to make sure it's still working. It's been a while.
Okay.
This is Franz Kantor. We'll catch you later.
This is Jim Bridges saying goodbye, friends.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for the sour persimmons, cousin.